Thank you for coming to walk with me today. I'm walking at 1.6 miles per hour. I just finished a walk, which if you watched my last video, you will see. I was walking slightly faster, so I'm using this as a cool down. So walking a little bit slower, but today I want to talk to you about book clubs and the last few books I've read. So when I was younger, like elementary school, middle school, I'm wondering now if there was some kind of book club. I feel like there was, and I wish I had been in it, but because I love to read it. I remember like on the weekends, I'd bring a book home and I would read it. Like I just loved it. Like I feel like sometimes people who really like to read don't like TV or movies, and that is definitely not me. I love TV and movies and all that too, but I also love reading. My preferred way to read is on Kindle. I don't really like the way paper feels sometimes. Might be kind of weird, that's fine, but everybody has their quirks and that is one of mine. But I have listened to a few audiobooks and those can be cool, but I just prefer being able to read so I can easily, because I tend to like go back and be like, wait, what just happened? Or sometimes I can't help myself if something major is going on and I'll kind of look ahead on the page. Obviously you can do that with a book, and it is nice to have physical books because they're kind of little trophies you can put on your shelf. And I have a lot of friends who will only read physical copies of books. I have a handful of friends who only listen to audiobooks. And then I have a few like me who just love Kindle. The great thing about Kindle, by the way, if you use Kindle or are interested, is Kindle Unlimited. And I'm not sponsored. No one sponsors me. But I just finished I think 3-month trial of Kindle Unlimited, and I'm decided I'm going to keep it because almost every book I've wanted has been on there, and it costs maybe a little more per month for one book. I think it's like $12.99. I'll have to go look for sure, but I think it's like $12.99 a month. And so I read several books a month. So for me, that's a great deal because as long as it's a real book, so it's not like I'm going to keep it and put it somewhere. I do go back to read other books, like reread books sometimes if they're really good. But I can do that on Kindle Unlimited. So I think that's going to be the way to go for me because I'm fine having to purchase a book there if they don't have it. But like I said, pretty much everything, there's only been 2 books, and they're like really niche, kind of like nonfiction informational books, but all like the little like fiction stories, popular things, they're on Kindle Unlimited, and I have been enjoying it. Okay, so back to book club. I joined book club for the first time probably about a year ago, maybe a little more, but about a year ago with my work. We all, for the most part, work remotely, so anybody in my whole company is able to join on a meeting and chat about a book if they want. I will say the book club varies in size. There's been sometimes there's like 12 to 15 people on there. There's been times when it's been as little as 3 people. I would say most frequently it's probably around 5 people, which actually is probably when it's my favorite because then you actually have enough, like there's enough people there to get different opinions and viewpoints and ideas, but you also have enough time to speak about things that you found interesting or were questioning or, that kind of thing. So I'd say that's a decent size book group for online because you're like limited. In person, I think it's a little different because, if you're meeting after work, chat as long as you want if you don't have anywhere to go. But it's been really good. We have like a channel on Slack where we basically nominate some books that we're interested in. There's been a few times it's been like themed, like for example, we just got out of October and there was like a horror theme, and I am not a horror girly. I don't want anything to do with that. So I waited to see which book would be chosen because there was 1 or 2 books that I was like, all right, I think I could do it. But I waited to see what got chosen because we do vote on the nominated books on like a Google form. And the one that was chosen was How to Sell a Haunted House. And really, based on the description, it reminded me of like an adult version of like Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark? Like had like some puppets apparently that were like a Chucky vibe, which I probably could have handled that, but I was way more interested in reading something that like I want to read. Like my to be read list is huge, and so I'm like, I just can't waste my time on a book I'm pretty much 0% interested in. But I did see a lot of comments in our channel, and of course the other people who read it met, and a lot of people seem to really like it, so yay for them. I'm glad they got to do that. But then we picked our next book for November, which I've actually already finished because luckily for me, that was one of my to be read books. And so I'd already started it because I saw it got nominated, but I think I started reading it like 3 days before I saw it was nominated for November. So I'm like, well, let's hope that one gets chosen because I'll be ahead. And it was The Housemaid by Freida McFadden, which is a very popular book, and she is an author who has a lot of similar books, and they're often really highly praised. And I never read a Freida McFadden book before, so I wanted to read that one because I have a few friends who have read it who have like similar reading tastes as I do, and they thought I would like it. And they had just also announced that there would be a movie adaptation, and Amanda Seyfried, who I love, is going to be one of the main characters. So yeah, I was like, you know what, it's time. And it wasn't a super long book. I don't remember how many pages. I want to say in the 300 range though. But it was a really quick read because there was never like a dull moment. There was never a lull. And I definitely wanted to know what was happening. So I do want to give you like my opinion of the book, and I do want to tell you a little bit about it, but I don't want to give out like so many spoilers that you couldn't read it. So hopefully there won't be spoilers. But basically, The Housemaid is about this main character named Millie, and she has recently been down on her luck because she's on parole from an incident that happened when she was a teenager. She was kind of a troubled teen. She ended up at this school. I'm not going to say what happened. Something happened. She committed a crime. She ended up in jail. I think for 10 years was how long she was in jail. She got out of jail and was having a really hard time getting like jobs and having a nice place to live and all that. And as a matter of fact, at the beginning of the book, she is living in her car. So she does have a car, but that's where she had to live at the time. So she interviewed at the Winchester house, which is like a really well-to-do family in a really nice neighborhood. And yeah, so she's interviewing there, and she really liked the connection she had. The lady of the house, her name is Nina Winchester, and Millie really felt like they hit it off, and you know, it seemed like we thought it was going pretty well. And I don't remember how much time passed, perhaps a week, and she had interviewed, and I don't know how much time had passed, maybe like a week, and she hadn't heard back from Nina. She was really like kind of bummed out because she really wanted that job because it was a live-in housemaid and she had no home. So, you know, so in the end of it all, she does hear back from Nina, who invited her to come and give it a try. And so she moves in with them. And mind you, this house is like big and beautiful and everything is grand. Well, the room, they have a guest room there, but she doesn't get to stay there. Instead, she is led to the attic, and she has a very small space up there. There is a bathroom, but the bathroom is like outside of the room. But that's where she's staying, and you know, she honestly doesn't even make a fuss. She's like pretty grateful to not have to sleep in her car anymore. Like she even talks about how like, yeah, this bed is springy, but it's better than my car. I can stretch out. So anyway, Millie starts off her first day, and you know, she had thought to herself like, man, when I interviewed here, this place was like so clean and everything was cool, and like now like the house is a disaster, and Nina, the lady of the house that hired her, is acting very different, just kind of acting a little crazy. And she does have, Nina has a daughter named Cecilia. Don't remember how old she is, but I want to say around 10, something like that. And then, of course, she is married to Mr. Winchester, or more casually known as Andrew. And apparently he's a looker. Millie talks about basically finding him so handsome and that he's like so calm and nice and patient and all of this. So the book goes on, and obviously Millie gets to know the family better. They go through some challenges, some struggles, and some scandal, we'll say, happens. And about midway, like literally right around 50% through, there was like a big twist, in my opinion. And I'm not going to say exactly all it was, but the big twist was we suddenly went into someone else's perspective. And I was not expecting that, but that was an awesome surprise. And I'm so glad we did, because we went back in time in that second perspective, and we got to see a build-up and how things kind of progressed and why things are the way they are now. So it was really cool. So like the first part of the book was Millie, the housemaid, from her point of view, everything from her point of view. And the second part was from one of the other characters. I'm not going to say who in case you want to read it, but that was such like a good, to me, maybe that's not really a twist, but to me it was, because I was not expecting that to happen. And then what I had assumed from the prologue, I actually thought we were in Millie's point of view in the prologue of the book, which was just a short few little paragraphs to kind of set up where we were currently. Then we went to Millie, we went back in time like a few months, and then we went to the other perspective, we went back years. But yeah, then I found out it was the other perspective. I'm like, oh, okay. But I like the way it ended. It wasn't really what I thought would happen, I don't think, but I wasn't mad about it. How about that? And then this is a series, so there's 3 books. I started the second one, but I got a few chapters in and had to pause because I got into another book, but that was for book club for November. We have not talked about this book yet. I think we're going to meet to chat about it either this coming Friday, or the next. Like it's pretty soon. So I'm excited to see what the other people in my book club thought about it. I'm excited to see how the movie will be, because before I knew what the characters were like and I just saw who was going to play them in the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, I can totally see it. And now I'm questioning one of the people chosen just based on the description of how they're supposed to look, but you can make anybody look like anything, so I think it'll be fine. And yeah, I'm excited to see how that goes. I have no idea when that's going to come out, but that was exciting. So that's my first book club I want to talk about. Since I started that book club at work, I did sometimes wish that it was ran a little differently. I just like more structure. So that book club is basically, you show up and they're like, how'd you like the book? Not really like following a guide or questions. There are questions sometimes, but it's more of like open discussion, which I don't have a problem with at all. However, for me personally, I like a little more structure. So what I did is I decided, you know what, book club is fun. And I have several friends who like to read. So I'm like, well, what if I just kind of made my own book club and, read with them, and then I can kind of structure it the way I like. And so I asked a handful of my friends, 4 other people, if they'd be interested in being in a book club with me. And they were like, yeah, everybody was into it. So I'm like, yes. So the first time we met was virtually. We do all live like in the same area, but we were just trying it out virtually at first because some of the people in the book club have younger kids. Might be harder to get away, during like bedtime routines and stuff, plus stuff just going on with their normal lives. So we decided to do virtual, and one person last minute wasn't able to come, so that was a bummer. But we read The Alice Network by, I believe it's Quinn. It's historical fiction from back in World War II. I think, man, it's been a little bit of time since I read World War I or World War II. I'm not sure which one, but anyway, it was a good read. I liked it. It wasn't my favorite book, but I liked it. And we had a lot of great discussions about it. And so for the structure I wanted, I made someone from my work actually, who used to do a virtual book club, shared some slides with me. And so I just kind of updated and made on my own. And we did like a little slideshow with questions. Like we went into like, who is this author? What is some of their books she's written? And here are some questions. I made up some questions. I found some questions. And it was like really structured. And kind of like at the end, I'm like, was this too much structure for y'all? How do you feel? And we're like, oh no, we like structure. So I was like, these are my people. We, in this book club, we only read one book a quarter. My work book club is every single month, but I was afraid for the first year that we tried this out that trying to meet every month or every other month might be a little too much, because I don't like, all these people are teachers and teachers are so busy. I was a teacher for 8 years, so I know. It's hard to have time to read a book, hard to even find time that works on your calendar with everybody else involved to meet. So I was like, let's just try once a quarter, see how this year goes, and we can change it for the next year. So we read, like I said, The Alice Network. Then we read another historical fiction book called The Women by Kristin. That is one of the best books I've ever written, and it takes place during Vietnam, and some of it is in Vietnam, some of it is in California. I did not think I was going to really be into that book, and it was awesome. It is so good. I want to read more Kristin books. I just haven't yet. But if you've not read The Women and you like historical fiction, or maybe even if you don't, because I do like historical fiction. It's not my favorite genre, but I do like it. So good. And she has several. She also wrote The Nightingale, which you may or may not have heard of. I've not read that one yet, but I'm going to. But anyway, so we read The Alice Network. We read The Women. We read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And we most recently read The Lost Bookshop. I believe that's by Evie Woods. And out of all 4 books we read, that one's probably my least favorite. It did have some cool and different aspects than, like, it kind of reminded me of a book I might have read in middle school. I mean, more adult themed. It wasn't for children, but some like magical stuff was happening. Not like witches or vampires or fairies, not that kind of magic, but just some things were like disappearing, and I don't know. It was an interesting read. It was quite long. It was not my favorite book. I'd probably give it like a 2.75 stars if I could. You probably can't, so maybe I'd give it a 3 stars. But I just didn't love that book because I feel like it left me with a lot of questions. It is written in 3 points of view, and one of the point of view is from someone named Opaline or Opaline. I can't remember now how it's pronounced. And it's like in the early 1900s when it starts, like maybe like 1920 actually, and kind of like details what she's trying to do to her life and some moves she made. It's all in Europe. And then we go to a different perspective named Martha, who's like trying to escape a bad relationship, and she finds a job and all this. And then the third perspective is a guy named Henry, who is looking for the lost bookshop that he found one time while in Dublin, and he cannot find it. Like, he has an address, like he shows up there, but the bookshop's not there. So that's kind of the magic I'm talking about. And I will say probably about, I just could not really get into the story. About 70-ish% through, some things were happening and changing, and I did get invested. So, I mean, even if I don't like a book, I typically stick it out because I'm just like, I just need to know at this point, unless it's so terrible. But I don't think I've ever read a book so terrible that I couldn't finish it at all. But I finished it. We have not talked about it yet, but we will be in about it's next weekend. Wow, time's flying. Next Saturday, we have our book club. So we, as I mentioned, started meeting virtually. And then someone suggested, hey, what if we get together? So the second one, we met at my house. And I had like some snacks, and some people brought their drinks. And I think some people might have brought snacks too. And so we didn't have like a dinner, but we had like snacks, and we still had like a PowerPoint, kind of, actually it's Canva, but you know, it's all the same. We had a presentation up on my TV. It was great. The third one for the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, someone else in the book club hosted, and we were also able to set up the screen with the questions. Now this fourth one, I'm not sure the person who's hosting has the capability for me to display a presentation, and I thought, you know what, last time and the time before, but mostly last time, we ended up off topic a lot, which is fine. You know, we're all friends, want to catch up on each other's lives as well as have fun at book club. But what I'm planning to do for the one next Saturday is I'm just gonna have like some index cards or post-its, and I just want everyone to write down a few questions, maybe just one, or if they don't have any, none, but like a question they come up with or something they wanted to discuss around the book, something they had like a question about around the book that we could just kind of all pull from a cup. And that way we're still like structured in a sense, but it opens up more like time to like chat. And then I don't have to worry about making a presentation. Just like my workbook club, we do nominate books and vote on them via like a Google form. And I think we'll continue to do that, but I am going to put some restrictions on the book for 2025 because one of the people in the book club, and listen, she has excellent taste in books. Pretty much every book she's ever told me to read, I have loved it. But they are long, which isn't so hard for me, and some people are fine with that. But we always have 1 or 2 people in the book club who are trying to shove the book in super last minute, and reading like books that are like 400, 500 pages, that can be challenging for someone who doesn't have a lot of free time for that. So I think we're going to put a cap on how many pages. But I'm really excited about our upcoming book club because we would normally be meeting in December, but you know, December is a busy time for teachers, for families. A lot of people travel, a lot of events going on. So we ended up meeting like towards the end of November instead. And we did like a secret Santa type thing where we're going to bring a basket, and in the basket it's going to be a book, and it could be anything. But for the person that I shopped for, they have a book she said she liked, like I asked for like what are some hobbies. So she has a journal, got her some snacks that she likes and a drink that she likes, and an ornament for a tree. And she did say that she typically decorates in like red, black, and white. I think she is a Georgia football fan, so she decorates in those colors. And she likes Diet Coke, and I found a Diet Coke ornament that was so sparkly and cute, had red, white, and black, a little silver too. But hold on, let me grab it. But I saw this adorable ornament, and I'm like, we are book club. So I ended up getting that one for her, and also a candle in the scent she liked, and some like winter smelling foaming hand soap. So yeah, I think it's going to be like a super cute, fun time to exchange these items and then be a little more low-key to chat about our book. But as I wrap this up here, something that's about to happen that I'm excited about is in 2025, our book club, so not my work one, but my personal one with friend groups, is going to change. So we are inviting 3 new people to the book club. 2 of them I know, and 1 of them I have never met. One of them is she's a parapro at the school I used to work at. She wasn't when I worked there, but she is now. But I used to teach her son, and so we already kind of know each other. We have very similar interests. I love just getting to hang out and chat with her anytime I visit school, and she was great to talk to when I taught her son. So super excited she joined the book club. Another parapro from that school who I did this club called Girls on the Run for girls at our elementary school. They could stay after school and they would run so many or do like a lot of physical activity. Obviously most of it was about running. We did that together, so I got to know her a little bit, and she's super cool too. And then one I don't know, but I saw she was at a Taylor Swift concert recently, and I'm like, that's my kind of girl. So we took a vote in the book club, because even though I started this book club, I want it to be like a community. I want us to make decisions together. We voted on what we would do with this this basket exchange. At first we were just going to get an ornament and exchange it. Then we were going to do like a drink and a book and exchange it. But people kept finding ideas, and so now we kind of got all of it in a basket. We voted on budget. Like, we vote around here. We voted on the budget. We voted on the day. We had a form so people could put like things that they like. You did not have to buy from this list. It was just to help you if you want to, like, you know, make sure you're getting snacks that if anybody has allergies and all that. So we voted on that, and thankfully my sweet husband was willing to draw the names and text people from my phone and let them know who they were shopping for and sent the list. Then he deleted it so I didn't see it, so I could still be part of the fun as well. So that was really exciting. But we voted, like, how do we feel about having these people join us? Everybody but one person, like me and one other person in my friend book club, don't work at that school anymore, so she also won't know everyone, just like I won't know everyone, but she also said it was fine with her. And I'm hoping next year, instead of, we only read 4 books, we only met 4 times, because once a quarter. So I'm hoping now that we've kind of gotten used to doing it, I'm going to suggest that we go to every other month. So that'd be 6 books and 6 book club meetups. And even if someone doesn't read the book, they can still just come and hang out, which has happened, and that's been fine. But I just wanted to share this with you because getting in a book club made me remember why I loved reading. Like, I hadn't read for years. I didn't take time to do that kind of thing for myself that brought me joy. I was just too busy being an adult and raising a family and keeping the house clean. And I mean, I did have time for stuff, but I wasn't seeking out things like that to bring me joy. And joining the book club made me remember why I loved reading. And actually, right around the time I joined book club, my friends in my friendship book club, because I had my work book club first, but they suggested that I read a little series you might have heard of that's often referred to as ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And I am all up to date on that, and I want to do a video where I talk to you about those books because those books made me fall in love with reading again so much. I spent many years recently reading like crime and thriller books, which I love, and a little bit of smut here and there. But I kind of was like, nah, I don't want to read fantasy. And when I read those books, I'm like, this is what I used to love about reading. So I'm going to have a series where I chat about those. I say a series because there's 5 books in it, so it might be a lot for one video, so I might break those up. But then I want to say, I have found my most favorite book that I have read in years, if not ever. And I'm definitely going to have a video about that, and that's Fourth Wing. So yeah, I just want to encourage you that if you know somebody and they're like, you want to be in a book club, and maybe you're like, I don't know if that's for me, like, give it a try, because I didn't know if it'd be for me either, and I love it. But anyway, thanks for walking with me today. I'll see you next time. Bye.